How are you?
How are you? Good, good, good.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. So, Stony, new EP. How does it feel that it's out and in the wild and everyone's in on it?
It's good, man. It's really cool. It's well, it's a different kind of release for me because it's obviously me going it alone, and it kind of slipped out amongst everything else. So I wasn't probably as connected to the process towards the end as I generally am with the bands and stuff because it was like Hammers has kind of been at the fore for a while now. Um, yeah, really cool. Like the response has been amazing and everyone's been lovely about it. So yeah, sick.
So you've got two older tracks, three new tracks, correct?
Hmm.
So when did you start the three new tracks? When did you sort of really go, okay, we're doing this?
Well, I've actually, so what I did around 2017-ish, I recorded like the scratch tracks and the drums for 6 songs.
Okay.
So there's still a mystery song out there that hasn't been finished and released yet. That'll be a
Yep.
standalone release later. But I kind of just let the process do its thing. So once I'd written the backbone of the songs and I kind of wanted this whole thing to be, well, I didn't really kind of want anything. I just wanted it to, in my mind to let it happen as it was supposed to. And at that particular time, I had an influx of like a sound and heaps of riffs and grooves and stuff that I wanted to flesh out. So I started fucking with the drums again and set my kit up at home and went through a bunch of riff structures and bits and pieces. And just because I'd been playing obviously guitar and singing in bands for so long and I was always a drummer, I just didn't play all the time. There was heaps of stuff I needed to polish up on and stuff. So sitting into those tracks and writing them slowly. And then once I had them down, I just went in and recorded the scratch tracks and put the drums down so they were done. And then after that, the process for me was just a matter of letting it happen as it was supposed to, as I was copying the inspiration for each song. And because I was so busy, doing everything else in life
Yeah.
and other music stuff that's devoted to bands, it's kind of like, even though this is essentially a selfish project, I kind of handled the whole thing opposite to that. So it
Yeah.
was like, if I was like, there was no commitment, like parameter, I guess,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
far as when I had to finish it, when I wanted to do a, finish a certain thing by or have a particular sound, and none of that existed with it. So essentially, it's been going since then, and that all happened kind of then. Um, but the completion of the songs were just an automatic or spontaneous kind of thing as it was supposed to happen over the
Yeah.
last 5 years kind of or 4 years kind of thing.
So
So yeah,
were drums your first love?
yeah, man. Oh, look, that was the first instrument that I took seriously.
Yeah.
I think like so when I was a kid, like I I grew up in a house and my mum was like this. She was a classically trained muso that sort of turned badass. And when I was a little kid, I used to get sort of dragged around from pub to pub while she screamed the whole out in punk bands. And I was around that, late 70s, early 80s party music scene as a kid kind of thing. And I had a small guitar, I had this like three-quarter size guitar that had like four strings on it. And I remember you used to run around the house with that thing, like I think one of my mum's scarves or something was like a guitar strap, and I'd
Yep.
run around the house pretending to be Gene Simmons.
That's
And
pretty sad, mate. That not only did we grow up in the same area, but we did the same sort of shit as kids too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you a Wollongong boy?
I'm born and bred in Liverpool, but before moving here, I was in Wollongong for a very long time.
Yeah, yeah, classic.
Yeah,
I spent a
family.
lot,
I
spent a lot.
still got family
What's
there.
that?
Still got
Oh,
family there.
sick.
Yeah,
Yeah, sick, sick.
yeah. But
But
it's why is it always Gene Simmons? Why?
I don't know because I'm not even a Kiss fan. I think if you're a mid 70s born kid and you saw I Was Made for Loving You, you thought Gene Simmons was like the devil, so it was cool,
Countdown.
you know. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
But no, like I kind of come out of that, and then I loved the guitar, but I like when I used to sit there as a kid and analyze music, it was always like a groove based kind of thing first. I definitely responded to like yeah, like the feeling of the heavier side of music, and I think it came from the drums more than anything. The inspiration for guitar, this is a quick little funny anecdote. I was sitting at a babysitter's brekkie table when I was young, and they had a box of cereal on the breakfast table. It might have been cornflakes or whatever. And the back of it had one of those. Remember they used to have like kids competitions and shit
Yep.
on those things. It had these funny cartoon kind of characters, and they were all playing like, which is essentially a Strat horn shaped guitar. And I remember staring at it then and thinking, oh fuck, that looks like guitar looks cool. I remember thinking, I don't know, it's one of those memories you just have that like is stayed with me. Um, that was my first obsession with like the visual aspect of a guitar. It was through a
Yep.
fucking cartoon figurine kind of thing. But the first instrument I had my hands on properly was drums, and then I got put in guitar lessons once, and I got kicked out for making a spitball pen and shooting a kid when I was 7,
Yep.
and they said never to bring me back, and I didn't touch a guitar again until I was 12.
All right.
Like apart from just like goofing off in the house or whatever. And drums were like, because mum was playing in bands, I was exposed to drums a lot. Like I'd sit on the older guys' kits and play stuff. And yeah, it's definitely like even now, dude, as a songwriter, the first thing that comes to me is rarely a guitar riff or a lyric. It's always a groove or a feel.
Okay.
And I feel like it's kind of served me well in the department of like song variation because I
Yep.
don't come at it with the same like natural feeling. It's
Yeah.
always like, oh, where can I twist this groove, like or something? Like,
Yep. So
yeah.
who were your guides as drummers then? Like who did you gravitate towards?
As in like as like guys I
Influences.
loved.
Yeah.
Um, well, the first drum thing that would have stuck out to me was probably like two songs in particular as a kid. It would have been Fairies Wear Boots and obviously War Pigs as a kid.
Yep.
Because Sabbath and Led Zepp and Hendrix and all the cool things from the 70s were slammed in my household. Like a lot of those big parties and stuff that they were all having was always like that classic sort of music. So I was definitely a Bill Ward and Bonza fan from the start, but also bands like Steely Dan and stuff. Like I remember, you know, a lot of that weird kind of late 70s, early 80s music that did affect me as well. I might not have liked them as much then because they didn't feel as cool, but like a lot of that, like Steely Dan, Supertramp, bands like that kind of had like a weird, maybe musical impact on me.
Yep.
I am a massive, from early life, I'm a massive Nico McBrain fan.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was this is obviously early. Later on that all changes. Like my favorite, well, I think one of the greatest drummers in history has obviously become Thomas Hark from Meshuggah.
Yep.
I think he's created a whole plethora of subgenres that we'll probably answer for in about 30 years when everyone's ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely those early guys, like the obvious ones really. I love Mitch Mitchell from Hendrix. I think he's one of the coolest drummers, you know. But a lot of that classic 70s rock, you know, Ginger Baker, those guys were definitely, because I was exposed to music so young,
Yep.
which I'm fortunate for. It was wild times, but
Yep.
you know, the end result was me being obviously exposed to a lot of stuff that maybe kids of that age weren't being exposed to at the
Yeah.
time. So, yeah, man, like definitely those pivotal guys. I love Bill. It's funny because Bonzi gets all the color from that time, but I really think Bill Ward, as loose as you like, if you took all the drugs out of the picture,
Yep.
like he'd probably be a lot more of a because he was kind of loose.
Yeah. It's very
But
jazzy.
yeah, and just kind of like a bit almost disorganized in a way, but totally intentional at the same time. Apparently, he's a very angry dude. Like I didn't know that until recently.
Right.
Like he's he was like, yeah, I was just sort of like a doco only recently, and it was like he used to get the shits while he was playing, and he used it as fuel. Like it was, yeah,
Wow.
I didn't even know that. But I think his drum parts are fantastic, especially for the time. Like he wasn't as maybe technically proficient as Bonza, or didn't push as many envelopes, kind of thing.
Yep.
But I just think his song arrangements were fucking sick. Like him and
It's
Iommi together.
it's funny that you say about anger. I was actually listening to interviews with Iommi and Geezer,
Mm.
and you know they used to set Bill Ward on fire for fun.
Yeah, I know.
Like
He copped
that's
it.
maybe why he's fucking angry. It's like I'd be fucking angry if I was set on fire too.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a bit going on, eh? It's just like and he was got pretty loose there towards
Yeah.
the middle of their career. Like, but yeah, no, his drums definitely had an effect. And I'm Stuart Copeland. Stuart Copeland from the Police.
Yeah.
He was, oh fuck, man, there's so many. Alex Van Halen was another one. Like,
It's
I'm
funny
having
that
like a
when I listen to the tracks on the EP, I actually get super fucking heavy Bill Ward.
yeah, cool,
Yeah,
sick.
like it's way heavier than Bill, but I feel that
Yeah,
you pull back on the beat a little bit, which I like in drummers. I hate drummers that
mm,
sit over the top and it's like so precise because it sounds like a drum
yeah,
machine.
yeah. You got to drag it in. Like, well, it is hard because like being a guitarist as well, you sort of like you're sitting right on it or
Hmm.
almost racing the beat to that point, but then it's the drums and the bass kind of need to be that, hey, just fucking stay here. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah,
especially some of those slower breakdowns. I think when I was recording, I was intentionally just sitting right at just before that last sort of moment.
yep,
And you just sort of sucks everything in. Like
yeah,
it sort
yeah.
of feels cool. Yeah.
That last, it's almost like you're leaning back on your chair right before you
Yeah.
fall. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
exactly the
100%.
way I read your drum parts too, because like I'm a tragic drummer, like just
Oh,
tragic. But like,
sick.
you know, I appreciate drummers that pull back. Like the
Mm.
way I describe it is Steve Adler on Appetite.
Yeah, man. Oh,
Just
genius.
loose unit, just total
Yeah.
loose unit, but
And it's
knowing
all
what he's
perfect.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you got to,
What drummer? Just we'll get off on
yeah,
a tangent here talking about drummers, but I'll tell you what drummers really impressed me. I've never been like the world's biggest fan. I was a big like, Chili Peppers, Chad
yep,
Smith. So I love Blood Sugar and was very familiar because my old bass player used to love the Chili Peppers when I was younger, and I was like, yeah, cool. But Blood Sugar was a sick record. But to see where Chad Smith's gone now as a drummer and how he plays now is fucking insane because he's like, how old is he? Like 65 or something? Like,
yeah,
gotta be getting on. And he's just like a million times the drummer. Same as Jimmy Chamberlain from Smashing Pumpkins.
yes,
That dude was always a beast, but now he's like, he's just better. Like, he's so, again, Rick Beato saving music one video at a time. And I watched another thing with him the other day and I was blown away with how much work he's put into it post career. I'm not, they're still active, obviously, but post peak, like,
yep,
dude's a fucking lord.
yeah. No,
So
like
many good guys, bro. It's a hard one to
Jimmy,
answer.
Jimmy was
What's that?
out with when the Pumpkins were ready, like
Yeah,
last
sick.
year, and we did a couple of those shows and got to chat with him and
Mhm.
then caught up with him, and he's just so not a rock star.
Yeah.
And then you see him go up there and just go, just see ya. You throw your drumsticks in the bin.
Yeah. Man, that era too, that's some like special guys. He was one, like Matt
Yeah,
Cameron. Matt Cameron's a big influence. John Stanier from Helmet, the slammer. And modern guys for me, like Ben Collock from Converge. Yeah, Thomas Hark, like I said before. There's so many good guys. Like it's funny because I love I love drums so much.
yep,
Like and most people are talk like if I have an interview about music, it's always generally about vocals and guitar and writing songs, but drums are the source for me. And I said in an earlier interview, it's like for whatever reason, the way I've evolved as a writer, drums come first, like
yeah,
always kind of thing.
yep.
It's yeah.
So we'll
Mm.
bring it back to that EP and not drum nerd out some more. We can do that later.
We'll get
Um,
lost in the drum world.
oh yeah. So you got a fair few mates that are all chipped in. How did you pick who you wanted on a particular tracks? Like, was there a moment where you went, "Oh, they need to go there, they need to go there," or you just sort of threw the names out and saw who came back?
No, I had a definite short list. And there was two guys that didn't end up on there just because we couldn't make the timings work of stuff, which was Kimmy from Dead Letter and Flynn from Cog.
Yep.
But they're all just guys that I truly love each individual on this whole thing, and the two other guys I just mentioned, they have a specific thing that I love. So I had a short list of guys that I kind of wanted to use as I was writing and doing this stuff, but I didn't know for sure like where I wanted different things, and I kind of wanted it to be a spontaneous thing. So, um, I actually sent Jace when I was first talking to Jace. So basically, all the dudes in this thing, like we all go back years and years, and they're close mates of mine, and we've shared the stage or the scene in some way, or just shared the process together. Like, I remember, for example, with Kimmy, not that he's on this one, we go back since when he was a shy kid singing and playing guitar in Oka before Dead Letter and stuff.
Yep.
And, when I was in Tension touring with all those bands, like, the early Vull days and Butterfly Effect and Cog, and we're all like one big family kind of thing. So there's a lot of attachment to that stuff. But the guys that I specifically have on this have like a unique thing that I kind of like, I don't know if you've played like extensively for a long time, whatever, but you have people cross your paths and you always think to yourself, oh, fuck, like I'm in this band, I'm doing my
Yep.
thing and they're doing their thing, but it'd be sick to be able to do a thing together.
Yeah.
That was kind of that motivation, but there's still like needed to be that, I don't know, that spontaneous spark where each person's placed is like, it's got to happen because that's what that song needed. And sometimes in my head, I was like, oh, that'd be sick for that. And then suddenly I realized, no, that's not the one. So I just changed. I remember with Jace, for example, I was like, oh, bro, here's that track. And I was like, no, which I originally sent him Cross My Heart, or The Bones Have Crossed My Heart. And then, when I'd sort of started writing, I was like, no, that's not the song for this one. And it ended up being Deathbed A-OK.
Yep.
So, it was kind of, I'll just say 50-50 spontaneous, 50-50 shortlisted kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did anyone?
And then just like the big thing for me, sorry, dude, was just that I needed them to be connected to me. You know what I mean? I needed to have the feeling of like almost like a band through other feelings, not because we played together every day. So that's why they're homies. You know what I mean?
Well, no, it makes perfect sense because there's a lot of times that you hear collaborations out now, and it's kind of such and such featuring, and you think it's just there for the likes, to get the stats up.
Yeah, no, I don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas for you, you can tell as you listen to the tracks that the people that are there are meant to be there. It's not just a phone in.
No, not at all, man. Like I didn't. The last thing I would do would be like I just don't operate that way. So for me, it was just like I fucking needed to serve that song that way, and that person just needs to be on it, like just kind of thing.
Yeah.
A fella asked me before, he's like, did you ask anyone? And they kind of just said no, sort of thing. And I was like, I didn't actually think of that before. But imagine if someone had kind of said, no, sorry, mate, I don't want to be a part of that. That'd be shit house.
Yeah.
But luckily everyone was like, no worries, bro, let's go.
The last thing you want is a fuck you, Stoney.
Yeah. Like even asking Sam, like Sam to play that solo, like there was no other dude that I wanted to do that particular thing. And when I sent that passage, I was like, he just sent it back once and that was done. Like, I didn't have any direction in that solo. It was just all him, and he did exactly like he couldn't have done that any better. And it was a really cool full circle moment because I know Sam from earlier days of Helm and stuff, and him and the boys in Caligula's Horse in the early days were fans of Helm, and we just got to talking back in the day. And like it was really cool to, those guys obviously killing it now, and cool to have him come and just fucking lay a slab down that I could never play.
Yeah. And the funny thing is the track, like his work, you can tell it's a Caligula's Horse sound without being too deliberately Caligula's Horse.
It's just Sam.
Yeah, it's just a great tone.
Yeah, the way he approaches the guitar is like, I mean, he'd be hard pressed finding many guys in this country and other parts of the world that can do what he does realistically.
Yeah.
He's playing for an Aussie prog band that's doing fucking real well everywhere, but he happens to be one of the slickest guitarists when it comes to that lead playing and how he does it that I've ever seen. He's fantastic.
You're also back behind the kit for Hot Cobra, or Cobra, however you want to say it in your part of the world. So tell me about your little side project.
Yeah, so that's with Corey Absol, who was the bassist for King Mungie and Electric Horse, which was Jason Dane's other band after Sunk.
Yep.
And the guitarist from Electric Horse as well, or one of the two guitarists, Scott Jackman, Dog we like to call him. And he was also the guitarist in another Gold Coast band years ago called Lump, who had like Gav Hansen was a drummer, I think, and he's a drummer from The Poor, and like just full circle kind of family stuff. Yeah, yeah. And what it is like a kind of eclectic little dirty funk sort of setup where you've kind of got, I guess, like, yeah, 70s, 80s funk slash R&B mix with kind of touching on some of the heavy parts might be like early rage sort of stuff, but
Yep.
yeah, it's just, and it's kind of a little bit rap, a little bit funk, a little bit, it's just, yeah, I don't know, it's weird. It's fun though. I love doing it. It's good fun.
It's just a good mishmash of good shit to listen
Yeah,
to.
100%.
What are your plans for the rest of the year? Like, do you think you might go out and do some solo shows, or are you going to be doing more with hammers? And what's the go?
Yeah, so the Hammers album is almost written. I've just about finished that, and we're going in for our second session, which will see 7 songs, close to fully done, and then the other sort of 5 or 6 will follow after that. So I'm hoping to have the Hammers record fully written over the next 3 months, and then recorded by the end of the year, and hopefully releasable sort of in the first few months of 25.
Yep.
That's the plan. Hammers have a lot on the schedule at the moment, and we've got a few big announcements we're about to make. So the rest of our year is pretty full up. I don't have any intention of touring this solo stuff at all, unless the demand for some reason, got to a point where it was a decent. Like, touring's hard enough these
Yeah.
days, and it's one of those things where it'll have to be pretty convincing to me. Like, we recently did a Helm reunion, which was flatteringly amazing. Like Helm got to a really good point when we were a bigger band, and we did have some tough years in the middle, but we left a good legacy behind. And I was totally, yeah, literally humbled by the 2 shows that we did, and the turnout, and just the response from it and stuff from both of them. So having that kind of thing was cool. With this
Mhm.
solo stuff, I don't know if that'd get to that point, and it'd be pretty hard for me to take time out of the band schedule and assemble the bits and pieces.
Yep.
And obviously Ruckus from Hammers would most likely play the drums for it, and then he'd have to relearn all that stuff. And everyone, you know what I mean? It'd just be, I would do it, but it's not on the immediate cards, mate.
Cool. But we are going to get like lots of classic hammers video footage, I hope.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we can't stop. It's almost becoming like a rush
It's
we can't get rid of now.
it's a side band for the band.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%. 100%.
Awesome, mate. Well, I'm going to let you go because I know you've got a shit ton more press going around, and you're going to be chatting with everyone. You're going to have no voice by the end of this one, but that's all good.
Sweet as, dude. It's
Congrats.
been a pleasure. Thanks very much.
No,
I'm
that's
glad
right.
you like the EP. It's
I
good. It's
love
sick.
it, mate. Heavy as fuck.
Cool, cool, cool. That's
Right.
good to hear. Stoked.
Catch you, mate.
See you, mate.
See ya.
Cheers.